Hey, all board game rants here. We'll find everything solo, tabletop gaming, and more. Light's a little strong on that side. That's my good side. I don't have a good side. Let's see my version of a top 10 list. Here we go. There's no particular order, but these are just things that have been kind of bothering me as I've been watching top 10 lists and top anything lists. I mean, they come out all year, but at the end of the year, there's like a flood of them, right? And so, and I found I just wasn't really interested in watching them all. And so I was trying to zero in on there was one that I watched all the way through. And it was a fairly long one, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And that's when I thought, why did I watch this one and nothing else? And so, here, this is a matter of opinion. I'm sure I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of this, so that I can create my own list or content or something accordingly. Because here's some of the things that I guess I want to avoid. I'm not putting them in any order, but I'm going to start with number 10. Is games. Someone will start a list and they'll say, I haven't played all the games that I wanted to this year. Or I haven't played all the games that came out in 2018, or, something along those lines, just like completely from the beginning, for me, just invalidates the list. It's like to just sort of start a list by invalidating the list. I don't really understand. The formats are kind of, they're just kind of boring. They're the same. I'd like to see some different formats out there, I guess. The videos tend to be too long. And just drawn out on a game, and it's just sort of I don't know if it's to fill up to hit a certain time frame or what, but I feel like a lot of these lists you just bust through or maybe refer, like, hey, if you want to know more about this game, check out a video I did it on here. So I think that's the a take that I'm gonna, maybe except for maybe the number one, or I don't know. Anyway, videos just in general seem too long. In the preparation, it seems rushed. It seems like they're just really, they're getting into it, and it's just like it was almost in an effort just to get it out there before everyone else. Some of these top 10s of 2018 were coming out in early December. It's like there's a whole other month. For me, I got about, almost 2 weeks of time in December to just play games. And one of the things I did consequently and have still been doing is going back and playing some of those games over 2018 and just seeing how I feel about them still. So the preparation, I'm pretty convinced there's like no preparation on some of these. It's just like a list to put out a list for the sake of putting out a list. I don't think that's good. I know that kind of drives me crazy a little bit. Honorable mentions. If it didn't make the list, it didn't make the list. Make a top 20 list. I don't understand honorable mentions. Anyway, categories. I'll see lists where there's just like, Gloomhaven, and there's, Blockus, and then there's a deck builder. There's just on the same list. I do see where there's like a top, people do a top dungeon crawl, top solo co-op, top, that kind of makes sense to me. But how do you have all these different games on that same list? How is it prioritized? What are the factors that you're using to rank these games? It just seems completely non-existent or arbitrary. I don't know. Another thing, some people putting games on their top 10 list that aren't even out yet, that aren't even come out for like another year or more. Thanks for showing off that you got the game. I excitedly type in, that looks great. That was it. 2020, it's coming out. Another thing, this is definitely on a more personal thing. I know a lot of people don't like to be in front of the camera and stuff, but I'm seeing a lot of top 10 lists, surprisingly, where I don't know, for me, I want to see the person. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see the reaction. I'd like to see their face and then their excitement and then their movements and stuff. I mean, maybe not, maybe I'm a little crazy with that. All too often, it's just sort of this in the background and a slideshow, basically. I know not everybody feels comfortable, but man, I'd love to see it. The number one thing that got me this year on their top 10 list was a game that they played once. I don't get it. We've all played games that just like you play it and you're like, yes! And and we've all played games and it's the first time and you're like, ooh. But to be able to put a game you played once on a top 10 list for the whole year, just that really got to me. And it's interesting because that particular reviewer is one of my favorite to watch. What he likes, I tend to like. But I just found that absurd. So those are some of the things that I'm looking to avoid. Those are some of the things that are bothering me about top 10, top 20, top anything lists now. They just seem to be all over the place, unorganized, and there's just no, I don't get how people are coming up with these lists and if there's any real thought behind them. And I think there are some. See, one of the things, categories that I'm going to try to cover, not only games, but I want to zero it down. I'm thinking of coming up with like the top game. And that's it. And maybe, games even that, I thought about that just kind of kept returning to the table. Games like that. Or, maybe a list along those lines. I'm kind of maybe thinking like games that I just couldn't stop thinking about all year or something. And then also too, but I want to pay homage to some of the creators out there. So I'm thinking of putting out who was the top content provider for me, who really stood out among all the others. Some of the most disappointing game. What are some other categories? Best designer, maybe for me for the year, and best solo variant designer. If you come up with some ideas here and some thoughts, and just like I'd love to hear what you're thinking. Kind of also helps me keep in mind in what I want to try and avoid and what I want to try to accomplish here on my first best of video. Thank you for watching. I always appreciate it. And until next time, which is going to be very soon, look for that top best of 2018 coming out on Board Game Rants. And I'm